We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Baker's, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Baker's worth it every time. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This episode is supported by FX's Clipped, the scandalous story of the 2014 Clippers owner's racist remarks captured on tape and heard around the world. The series charts the tape's impact on a dysfunctional basketball organization striving to win against their reputation as the most cursed team in the league. Starring Lawrence Fishburne, Jackie Weaver, Cleopatra Coleman, and Ed O'Neill. FX's Clipped, streaming June 4th, only on Hulu.
Welcome back, Ram fans. This is Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are proud members of the Fans First Sports Network. That's fansfirstsports.com. You can also follow us on YouTube. Our channel is at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. You'll hear from my co-host, Tom, on occasion as well. Hey, we're not Rams insiders. We're just longtime fans who love talking about our Los Angeles Rams. Let's get to it. A note before we get started. This is some pre-recorded content. We are out of the office for a few days. Any breaking Ram news, you won't find it on this episode. We'll cover it when we get back. Last summer, I did a countdown of the Rams' top 50 players. Shared it as shorts on the YouTube channel. Never really addressed it on the pod, though, so I am going to readdress the top 50 players all time for the Los Angeles Rams and the St. Louis Rams. Might even be a Cleveland Ram in here, I'm not sure. And then at the end, I am going to unveil the Rams Up Mount Rushmore of Ram players. That's right, the definitive Mount Rushmore of Los Angeles Rams. Now, assessing the top 50 players of all time is more difficult than you think. You got to weigh a lot of things. And what do you put weight on and what do you ignore? Well, this is what I did. I weighed everything, took everything into account. Longevity with the team. Did they have 3 great seasons with the Rams? Or did they have 12 really good seasons with the Rams? What era did they play in? What position did they play? How many championships did they win? How many Pro Bowls were they named to? How many times were they named All-Pro? I weighed everything. I'll give you an example of one of the dilemmas. Comparing a player from the 1950s with a modern player or even a player from the 1980s. Is Bob Waterfield a better quarterback than Jim Everett? Probably not. But compared to their peers, maybe Waterfield was better. Would Tom Mack, one of the greatest offensive linemen in the history of the National Football League, even be a starter for the 2024 LA Rams? Possibly not. And I'm being serious here. But then again, maybe Tom Mack, a Hall of Famer who played at 250 pounds. would put on 25 pounds of muscle, maybe a little bit of fat too, and get up to current standards as far as the weight goes, and he'd be a great offensive lineman. How do we know? We really don't. Would Elroy Crazy Legs Hirsch been able to make a contribution on the greatest show on turf? Who knows? So I tried to weigh all of that equally, the era they played in, how long they were with the Rams, everything weighed a little bit, and I finally arrived at my top 50. And I'm going to share with you a few guys that just missed out. Tyler Higbee, the tight end, all-time leader, receiving yards for a Ram at the tight end position. Jack Pardee, great linebacker, didn't quite make it. Aeneas Williams, in his prime, he was actually probably playing for the Cardinals. Dave Elmendorf, very good player, just missed out here, as did Rod Perry, a great cornerback. Jerome Bettis really made his mark with the Steelers. Jack Reynolds just missed out here. He probably came as close as you can get to making this 50 and missing out. Maybe a little biased because he went over to the 49ers. Rosie Greer is another guy that just missed out. Another two late cuts, Harold Jackson, the wide receiver, really made his mark with the Eagles, came back to the Rams after being drafted by the Rams originally. Had some good seasons, but didn't make the cut here. And a Deacon Dan Towler, another late cut, an all-pro running back from the early 1950s. Now, I didn't want to make this an hour-and-a-half episode, so I broke it up into 3. This episode, number 50 through number 26. And then tomorrow, I'll get into numbers 25 all the way up to the final greatest Ram of all time, number 1. And then there will be a third episode where I get into the Rams' Mount Rushmore. And I'm going to actually have a handful of Mount Rushmores. Probably doesn't make sense, but you'll understand when we get to it. And then we'll narrow it down to our final Mount Rushmore of Rams. So let's get this rolling. Our top 50 all-time players for the Los Angeles Rams. Number 50, wide receiver Flipper Anderson. Flipper was a second-round pick in 1988 out of UCLA. Finished his Rams career with over 5,000 receiving yards. That's 8th all-time for the Rams, and it's a tough crowd, very respectable on this team. For comparison, he would be the 4th all-time on the Giants' receiving yardage list, and he has more than any Chicago Bear as far as receiving yardage. Just goes to show you how many great receivers the Rams have had over the years. He has 2 claims to fame. One was that overtime touchdown reception in the playoffs against the Giants, running through the end zone and into the tunnel. Game over, well called by John Madden and Pat Summerall. And he also still holds the single game receiving yardage record, 336 yards in 1989 overtime win over the Saints. So 2 of his big moments came in overtime, actually. Now, if he didn't have that single game receiving yardage record, probably wouldn't have him in the top 50 here, but I put a lot of weight on that. That's a big time record. Rams hold a lot of those, actually. And that overtime win, big moment in Rams history. Flipper Anderson, number 50 on my all-time list. Number 49, guard Joe Schiavelli. Now, Flipper Anderson made it for a couple of great moments and 5,000 career receiving yards, but Schiavelli, it's kind of the opposite. He gets it for longevity. He anchored the Rams' offensive line for 15 years. That's right, 15 years. 6'1", 256 pounds, 1968 Pro Bowler and 1973 All-Pro. Schiavelli was just a rock for so long and played at such a high level. Did he make the Pro Bowl a bunch of times? Absolutely not. But man, he was darn good. He was so good. An institution in Los Angeles along that offensive line. Joe Schiavelli, my 49th greatest Ram of all time. Number 48 on our list, wide receiver Jack Snow. Over 6,000 receiving yards for the Rams. First round pick out of Notre Dame. Played on the 1964 National Championship Fighting Irish team, by the way. 6'2", 190 pounds. Was actually drafted by the Vikings, but was quickly traded to the Rams, made the Pro Bowl in 1967. Not a lot of awards or recognition for Jack Snow, but in Los Angeles, him and Roman Gabriel, they were the real deal. Jack Snow, number 48 on my list. Number 47, running back Dick Bass. Now, they called him a halfback / fullback back then. 5'10", 200 pounds, out of the University of the Pacific. It was the College of the Pacific back then. Second pick of the 1959 draft. Played for the Rams for 10 years, essentially the 1960s, from 1960 to 69. Had 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons, and that was a bigger deal back then. 3-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All-Pro, over 5,000 career rushing yards, 5th all-time on the Rams' rushing yardage list. And after his career was a bit of a TV and radio personality in the LA area. Dick Bass, my 47th greatest Ram ever. Number 46, defensive end Kevin Carter. Carter, 6 feet 6 inches, 305 pounds, was the 6th overall pick in the 1995 draft. One-time first-team All-Pro, the 1999 NFL sack leader, and of course a Super Bowl champion that went over the Titans. Finished his career with 104.5 sacks. You know, if Kevin Carter was a part of maybe 25 other franchises, he'd be on their Mount Rushmore of defensive linemen. But with the Rams, barely makes second team in that regard. A great player. Kind of forget about him because of all these other great defensive linemen the Rams have had.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end,
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
Jewelry isn't a gift you give just once. It's a way to remind your loved one of a beautiful moment every time they see it. Blue Nile can help you find the gift that says how you feel and says it beautifully, with expert guidance and a wide assortment of jewelry of the highest quality at the best price. Go to BlueNile.com and experience the convenience of shopping Blue Nile, the original online jeweler since 1999. That's BlueNile.com to find the perfect jewelry gift for any occasion. BlueNile.com.
Hey, it's Kaylee Cuoco for Priceline. Ready to go to your happy place for a happy price? Well, why didn't you say so? Just download the Priceline app right now and save up to 60% on hotels. So whether it's Cousin Kevin's Kazoo Concert in Kansas City, go Kevin, or Becky's Bachelorette Bash in Bermuda, you never have to miss a trip ever again. So download the Priceline app today. Your savings are waiting.
Go to your happy place for a happy price. Go to your happy price, Priceline.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Number 45, offensive lineman Kent Hill. First-round pick out of Georgia Tech in 1979, a 2-time All-Pro selection, 5-time Pro Bowler. Hey man, Rams have had so many great offensive linemen. We forget about a guy like Kent Hill. What a great player. Number 44, cornerback Todd Light out of Notre Dame, 1-time All-Pro selection, Super Bowl champion, and fourth on the Rams' all-time interception list. Really good cornerback. One of the better ones the Rams have had. Kind of the opposite of some of the other positions like offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, running back. Rams haven't had a bunch of great cornerbacks, but Todd Light would be near the top. Number 43, defensive tackle Larry Brooks. Brooks was drafted in 1972 in the 14th round, number 355 overall, out of Virginia State. Went on to play for the Rams for 11 years, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 4-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler. Quite a career for a 14th round draft pick. Number 42, offensive lineman Charlie Cowan. Drafted by the Rams in 1961 out of New Mexico Highlands, was a pillar for that Rams offensive line for 15 years, played alongside Tom Mack and Ken Iman, one of the better offensive lines during that period. You know, you could take the Rams' second string all-time offensive line and it would be pretty formidable. Cowan gets there for two reasons. Longevity, man, he was just a rock at that position, and he was also a 3-time Pro Bowler. Number 41, defensive end Leonard Little, drafted in the 3rd round by the Rams in the 1998 draft out of Tennessee. First team All-Pro in 2003. Finished his Rams career with 87.5 sacks. That's 5th all-time for the Rams. He's sandwiched between Merlin Olsen and Larry Brooks on the all-time sacks list. Number 40, left tackle Andrew Whitworth. Now, he had a very short career with the Rams, 5 years from 2017 to 2021. But how impactful was his presence? Got the Rams to 2 Super Bowls, including 1 Super Bowl win. Andrew Whitworth, short time with the Rams, big impact. He's my number 40. Number 39, defensive end Robert Quinn, 14th overall pick by the Rams in the 2011 draft. Played for the Rams for 8 years. First team All-Pro in 2013, second team All-Pro in 2021, 3-time Pro Bowler, and number 10 on the Rams' all-time sack list with 62.5. Great defensive end from the Rams. Days in St. Louis, Robert Quinn. Number 38, first time jumping into the Wayback Machine, defensive lineman Andy Robustelli. Played for the Rams from 1951 to 1955. 2-time All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro while with the Rams, and won an NFL championship. Hall of Famer Andy Robustelli. Number 37, offensive lineman Doug France. Rams selected him with the 20th overall pick in the 1975 draft out of Ohio State. Named second-team All-Pro once, 2-time Pro Bowler. Another excellent offensive lineman the Rams have had over the years. Number 36, quarterback Jim Everett, a teammate of Doug France's. Everett was a 3rd pick in the 1986 draft out of Purdue, a Pro Bowler, 2-time NFL passing TD leader, Rams career passing leader. Kind of got overshadowed by some other great quarterbacks during his time, but man, he was a good one. Very underrated in my opinion. And for number 35, we're going in our Wayback Machine once again. Linebacker Maxie Bond. He was named first team All-Pro once and a 3-time second team All-Pro, one of the great players of the 1960s. Number 34, linebacker Kevin Green. He was a 5th round pick out of Auburn in 1983. So yeah, we hit on some 5th rounders back in the day as well. Played 8 years with the Rams, first team All-Pro, and then another year second team All-Pro. 2-time first team All-Pro after leaving the Rams, a member of the Hall of Fame, and 8th on the Rams' all-time sack list with 82.5 sacks. Number 33, defensive back Jalen Ramsey. Just 4 years with the Rams, kind of like Andrew Whitworth. Man, he made the most of it. Got the Rams to a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl championship. two-time first-team All-Pro with the Rams, and over the course of his career, a six-time Pro Bowler. Number 32, another cornerback, Leroy Irvin. He was a third-round pick out of Kansas in 1980, played 10 years for the Rams, three-time first-team All-Pro, one-time second-team, 35 career interceptions with the Rams. That's third on the list in the history of the Rams behind Eddie Meter and Nolan Cromwell. Number 31, offensive lineman Doug Smith. Smith went undrafted out of Bowling Green in 1978, went on to play 14 years for the Rams, six-time Pro Bowler, and yet another very good offensive lineman that just played a long time for our Los Angeles Rams. Number 30, running back Todd Gurley. You know, I would love to put him higher. In his prime, he might have been the best Ram ever for a very short period of time, though. 5 years with the Rams, 70 touchdowns. NFL Offensive Player of the Year in 2017, Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2015, two-time first-team All-Pro, one-time second-team All-Pro, two-time NFL rushing TD leader. Todd Gurley got this franchise turned around under Sean McVay. He's my 30th greatest Ram ever. And you know what? If he had been around a couple more years, probably be in the top 10. Number 29, quarterback Roman Gabriel, recently passed away. We talked about him a couple of times recently. The NFL MVP in 1969, first-team All-Pro, two-time second-team All-Pro, and the NFL passing leader in 1973, and the two-time NFL TD passing leader, and still has the most career passing TDs for the Rams. One of the great quarterbacks of the 1960s, right there with Johnny Unitas, Bart Starr, and a few others, the great Roman Gabriel. Number 28, center Rich Saul, an 8th-round pick in 1970 out of Butler, yet another offensive lineman that played seemingly forever for our Rams, 12 years. Two-time second-team All-Pro and a six-time Pro Bowler, one of the great centers of the 1970s. Number 27, running back Lawrence McCutcheon. Man, this guy doesn't get the respect he deserves. The Rams drafted him out of Colorado State in 1972, played 8 years for the Rams, second-team All-Pro, five-time Pro Bowler, over 6,000 yards rushing as a Ram. That's fourth on their all-time list. And who's he behind? SJ39, Eric Dickerson, and Marshall Faulk. Not a bad group at all. Number 26, defensive end Fred Dryer. Came over from the Giants, actually via the Patriots, was traded to the Patriots, had an impasse with them, and eventually moved on to the Rams. Never played it down for the Patriots, though. Ended up playing 10 years for the Rams, paired up with Jack Youngblood. Talk about bookend pass rushers. Dryer was second-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler, the 1974 NFL sack leader, 103 sacks, and he is the guy that got the two safeties in one game. And it was a good move. Fred Dryer ended up with the Rams and close to Hollywood, where he parlayed his NFL career into a career in Hollywood, the star of the TV series Hunter. So that wraps up number 26 through 50. We'll come back with 1 through 25, and then we'll get to our Mount Rushmores, and then our final Mount Rushmore. Multiple Mount Rushmores leading us to the final one. Yeah, it's complicated. It'll all make sense when we get there. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.